For September 13th, 2013, we talk about the iPhone reveal, some old-ass games, and answer your questions from a while ago. Welcome to the 34th level. My name is Cole Ross.
I'm Dennis Furia.
I'm David Meismith.
I'm Ben Merkel.
And you are listening to The Level. This is a podcast for people who love video games. We're going to fast track our way through the first part of this episode because we have a great deal of listeners' mail to get to in the multiplayer section. So, just forgive us. The brief is going to be real brief, and the grind is not going to be so grindy. And
well, we're all about you here.
Yes, this is the episode that is dedicated to you.
Great save.
Yeah, there we go. News stories, fellas. That's what we talk about here on The Brief. I've got a handful that we can do, but I want to hear what you have to offer.
I don't have an actual article or specific event. Just in the reading I do normally, it seems like the Vita is killing it right now. And Vita.tv or whatever it's called aside. We'll come back to that at some point, I'm sure. But just every time I look, there's some new game, coming to Vita, and it just seems that people have always said it's all about the games. That's what's going to sell the system, and it just seems they've got a real steady drumbeat of those games coming. So,
can you name some titles that you've seen? Because all that I saw out of the TGS pre-show thing was the PS Vita TV, which I don't think is a bad idea necessarily. I just, with the price drop on the PS Vita, it seems like it would be like a weird purchasing decision to make.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically every indie game ever, and sorry, specific names are eluding me at the moment, but it basically, as as PS4 announcements are ramping up, they're announcing just a new indie game every single day, and it's always for PS4 and Vita. Yeah,
I think that it's going to be a weird situation where this kind of happened with the PSP a little bit, where once the PS3 came out and they started getting their shit together with their system, software, the PSP became a little bit more useful. I think that's going to be the PS3 is going to be the PS Vita's killer app to a certain extent.
You mean PS4?
Yes, that's what I mean. The PS4 is going to be the PS Vita's killer app.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure if I troll around for a bit, I can find a list of all the games that have been announced, but it's just very, very consistently, it's PS4 and PS Vita. And that's in my mind, that's the way it should be if you're going to do a handheld like this.
Yeah. So what? Real quick, what do we think of the PS Vita TV? I mean,
I actually missed that one.
Yeah. So just a little box is $100. You plug it into your TV, and your DualShock 3 controller will sync to it. It just lets you play PS Vita games, and whatever you could play on a PS Vita just on your TV. Yeah.
See, this is obviously I heard about it 3 seconds ago, so this is a very gut reaction.
Yeah.
But I feel like the thing to think about is I feel like this makes sense entirely in light of PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
In terms of I theoretically have access to a crap ton of Vita games that I'm just not playing because I can't.
Yeah.
And I hadn't even thought about it like that. That's a really good point.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I don't know. I forget what I was going to say. Ben, how about you?
Well, I too also just heard about this, I guess now 45 seconds ago. I don't know. It seems like they're kind of undermining the original intent of the Vita to be a portable device, right?
But it's they...
If you want access to the games, it seems like it would be smart. Well, maybe it's better business practice to do it the way they're doing it, but it seems like it would be easier if they just released it through PlayStation Plus,
Yeah, to put it on just put it on the PS4 or the PS3 or whatever. Yeah. Just to make it so that, now, but that wouldn't be too smart because they want to push those. They want to push the actual hardware because, margin and whatnot. Yeah. I figured out what I was originally going to say, which is all the games that I would want to play on PS Vita, they're not really designed to be portable.
Yeah.
Like when
What games do you want to play on Vita?
Like the Persona 4 would be kind of cool, but like I don't want to, I don't play games on the toilet, so I couldn't see that being the case. Like I maybe might play it in bed, but like that kind of thing, I'd probably want to like put it up on the TV that I have in the bedroom. I don't know.
When I feel like, though, to a certain degree, it's kind of like, yeah, I remember that Pokemon game. I only ever played that when I was, like, out at the mall and stuff. I never played it for, like, 5 hours straight.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think about, like, I never play a portable game when I'm out and about. It's always when I'm, like, in the house, like, sitting in the recliner in front of my TV, holding a 4-inch screen when I've got a 50-inch one in front of me.
Yeah. I know, like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited about the PS Vita just because, like, traditionally, like, up through, say, like, some of the stuff on the DS, probably that was, like, my main game system just because I'm all about, like, minimum inertia to playing. That's why, that's to a large degree why PC game.
Yeah.
And so, but since that point, and yes, it does say something about me that's easier for me to operate a computer than a TV.
Yeah, or a console. I mean, I was about ready to like call you out and say, but you have to patch stuff and you have to configure, and you're never assured that it's going to work. But like, I think about like the last time I like sat down to turn on my PS3 and like, oh, okay, I'm going to wait 20 minutes, and I like play it every other day.
Right.
Man, 20 minutes, you're lucky.
Yeah, well, I mean, time is weird in my head, so I don't know. While we're on the
I feel like, there's been... I feel like basically mobile gaming killed real mobile gaming for a while, and I think it's kind of interesting that maybe it's coming back.
Yeah, well, I like the idea of the again, I've said this 5 times, of the Vita being this kind of dumb terminal for the PS4.
Oh yeah, I love some of the stuff I've just seen like headlines, but apparently they're doing some stuff with like Watch Dogs, where like your smartphone can be your smartphone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Second screen experiences to raise engagement.
Yeah,
with multiple marketing opportunities.
Blow my brains out.
You, both of you, stop working.
Sorry. I literally just now stopped working. So, well, while we're on the portable tip, we're recording this on Tuesday, prior to when you hear this, lifting up the veil. So when I say that we just, or I just saw the Apple announcements for the new iPhones and such, this has relevance to gaming. The 5S was announced. It's going to be a 64-bit phone, which is sweet. I'm a little bit worried about the battery life, but it's going to have some real pretty-looking games on it, which is going to be pretty cool. Other than that, it's just bigger, better, more, all that kind of thing. Additionally, there's the iPhone 5C, which is just iPhone 5 guts in a plastic case that looks like a Fisher-Price toy.
The C is for crap.
The C is for cheap.
I feel like that's genius.
What do you mean?
Just let's make Mac products, except not horribly overcharge for them.
Not true. It's like what? Like the cheapest one's $99 on contract, which is nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know the cheapest laptop you can get is like $1,000.
Just about. You can get like the 11-inch Air for like $900 or $800, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
But. Yep, but I think that the 5 being a 64-bit phone is pretty cool. Again, a little bit worried about battery life, but I don't know. Any thoughts on that? If not, I've got another one.
Keep going. He's on a roll.
He's on a roll. GOG.com. They released I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, which is one of my favorite adventure games of all time.
Ooh.
I thought it was never going to be released. It's Windows only, which is kind of a bummer. But you can get it for like $6 and be just thoroughly creeped out.
When did this come out?
The original one was like 1995 on PC. Something like that. It's fully voiced. Like Harlan Ellison himself did the voice of the supercomputer Am, and is like crazy over the top.
Nice.
But
Yeah.
I thought they had no mouth.
None of them have. Well, no, I mean over the top, in that it was all.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah. No.
So what this brief item actually is hey, watch out for fireballs is going to do. I have no mouth, I must scream.
Not for at least a year. So.
Yeah.
No, I'll probably play it again and write about it at some point. God, it's such a good game. Yeah, so that's mine. Ben, how about you? You see anything?
I got a little ditty. It's from the PAX conference, which I don't know how long ago that was. It was like a week or two ago, but I can't recall.
Yeah, like it was like a week ago.
Okay.
Week and a half, something. 2 weeks by the time
Everybody.
people are listening to this.
Click on this link, listeners and co-hosts.
Technically, isn't.
What?
No, never mind.
All right. It's just a game that was featured on there. Apparently, it's been around for a while, so this might be old news. But a game called Scale.
Okay.
Have you heard of it? Where you can manipulate the scale of any of the objects, or well, selected objects, I suppose. So there's just a video of a demo of it at PAX, but it looks kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Looks like a cool concept for a game.
Yeah, it's like a little first-person shooter. You've got something that looks like the portal gun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like you see like a toy house, and then you can blow it up to actual house size, and then walk around in it, and then find objects in it, and then
that's cool.
shrink it down, and then pull it, go back out. So yeah,
Can you shrink the house while you're inside it?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't. They don't show that on the demo.
I'm just picturing how like Looney Tunes cartoons would treat. Oh, there's a smaller house inside the house, you guys. Just kind of like a cartoon dog who's like real hungry and shoots that at a steak to make it bigger. Yeah, I was making.
I was just thinking of how like horrifying it could be to just like, oh, you're in a car? Crush.
Yeah. Well, no, that was. Oh God, that's a huge butterfly. That wasn't that a villain in a Harvey Birdman Attorney at Law? Reducto.
Yeah. No, I think you're thinking of Mothra.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. You're right. This looks like the cover to a Yes album. He's like riding a butterfly into the sunset.
I feel like I don't know. I find these games funny just because I always think of the whole like, the whole like verb argument. Like, how we need more games that have verbs other than shooting. Mm-hmm. Where this is a game that's like, let's allow the player to do something completely different, but arbitrarily the verb is still shooting.
Yeah. Well, it's like. You're really just pointing something. Shoot. Okay, when you shoot somebody, it's pointing at something that you want to die. That's really it. So the actual verb is always point. It's just the result that changes.
And that is direct. Sorry, I've been studying. The last several days. I'm taking a user interface class. It's like direct manipulation theory or something. It's really scary. I now understand why people buy Mac products.
Oh, yeah, because they're like pleasant to use.
Because honestly,
this is a conversation I'm like less than interested in having.
Honestly, because Mac products are entirely set up to make people think they're pleasant to use. Mm-hmm. I mean, not that they necessarily aren't. But they're definitely set up so that even if they aren't, which personally I think, but that's not the point, even if they aren't, to make people think they are.
Yeah.
Like if you look at like their ads and stuff, they're hardcore set up with all the like things that are like, how do you make someone assume that your interface is good?
Yeah. Well, I mean, but then there's the whole side of like I spend more time in the terminal than I do on the desktop.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely. And that's basically everything they tell you. Hey, don't do that. It's probably bad interface.
It's all there.
Oh yeah. No, I'm just saying like that's like all the user interface. Like the terminal is just like a horrible user interface. Necessary, but it's just really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, this game looks real interesting. I'm curious about it now. I'd be curious if that's final art. We'll put a link to this in the show notes, obviously. But I'd like to see that with some filters or shaders or something on it to make it look a little bit more placey and not so video gamey.
1990 called.
Yeah.
My point is, I think that's really cool that you're seeing these great new ideas done with graphics that these things could have easily existed 10, 15 years ago. It's just people are now figuring out how to use this medium in ways that aren't necessarily enabled by the technology, but are enabled just by mastery of the medium.
Could they have? Because this kind of seems like something that's being done in voxels. I guess there are voxels
depends
back
on
then
how
too.
much you can scale it. I haven't seen anything scaled to the point at which I'd be like, oh, you couldn't do that unless you. Oh, never mind. I just hit it where he extended the walkway to 30,000 miles. Never mind.
I can't tell though. Are they making you do conservation of mass?
Well, he was making the peach bigger to get it to roll downhill faster.
But I mean, it looked like he was having to make something small and then make something bigger. So it's that I need to steal this mass in order to.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, you got to charge up. I could see that be a really interesting, puzzling element.
Go all Katamari Damacy.
You need to borrow something's bigness.
Pardon me, sir.
Not actually conservation mass. It's conservation bigness.
Yes.
What's the one? What's that being biggened?
Oh no! It's like a noble spirit and bigots the most timid soul, or something like that. It's a perfectly cromulent word.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh man, cromulent's in the dictionary.
All right.
Because of The Simpsons.
I thought Cromulents were one of the bad guys in Star Trek.
You think of I think you're thinking of the Romulans.
Twerking is also in the dictionary, so I wouldn't get too excited.
Yeah, I think it's in one of the good ones. It's not in one of the stupid ones. It's not in it's not in the dictionary for stupid people.
It's the bad dictionary.
Wait, is there any dictionary that isn't Wiktionary?
Isn't Urban Dictionary?
That's true.
Yeah.
I was reading something the other day. Actually, I think it was one of my textbooks referenced Urban Dictionary.
It's been around for a while. I could see that.
Yeah. Actually, I think my favorite thing I saw is, again, in this interface class, they're referencing the fact that, people have pretty much decided everyone hates it when you give, the Office assistant and avatar a la Clippy.
Yeah.
And they're talking about, though, people still having, avatars for themselves. Mm-hmm. And they're discussing, Second Life, and, people still having avatars, some of which are quite exotic. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, that was diplomatic.
Okay, so the first mistake was using Second Life and still in the same sentence. Is Second Life still a thing?
Yeah, you're actually in Second Life right now.
Yeah, no. Okay, guys, come join us in Second Life.
No, we're done with that. We're on to third or fourth life,
I suppose. But
Let's go retro and play Half-Life.
So you can stand up. Sorry, I need to stop watching this game.
Yeah, probably. What am I thinking here, David? Do you have a news story?
Yeah, just something fairly minor. I just saw there's a Kickstarter for a River City Ransom 2.
Yeah, it's an independent developer that licensed River City Ransom for some reason in order to make a sequel to the game.
Yeah, and it looks kind of cool. They've kind of updated the graphics from I don't know, it sort of looks like NES to Super NES kind of levels.
Yeah, it's a little bit higher res, but they haven't sacrificed the too much of the proportions at the character design.
Right. Yeah, and I guess it kind of looks like kind of what they're trying to do is do the same basic game, but obviously they can make it a lot more sophisticated now because you can make a huge freaking world and lots of different enemies that look different, etc., etc. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a cool idea.
Yeah, River City Ransom, it's still such a great game idea. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
What's the game idea for it?
I mean, it's like a really, really basic double dragon. Yeah. You're like walking around this world. You're punching dudes. Just you punch a man and he drops coins, and then you use that coin to buy food or power ups or new ways to punch mans. And you're just kind of like going around doing boss fights.
So it's a punching simulator.
Yeah, Yes, I was doing like a little moonwalk. The animation looks real good. Yeah, I like the art a lot in this. So I'm immediately biased against it because its video does this horrible thing that I would say like 80% of Kickstarter pitch videos do, which is, I didn't see you there.
No, wait, did you guys do that?
Is that
No.
really common?
Watch it. Okay, this is Blue Car Syndrome on fire because because like now every Kickstarter pitch video you watch, you're going to notice it starts with somebody like apparently preoccupied, and then they look up and say, "Oh, I didn't see you there."
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't do that. We didn't do that. We started out with just my name's Gary Butterfield, my name's Cole Ross, and then went for it.
It's the blah 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 treatment.
Kind of, yeah. It's like Saul Goodman,
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, their video's a little interesting, but granted, they're Canadian, so we just have to let it roll.
Yeah, there was a bumper crop of new projects that went on Kickstarter because they allowed Canadians in.
Our time has come, eh?
They've just been biding their time. Oh, you guys want to move on?
Let's do it.
Doing it.
The grind.
It's time for the grind, where we talk about things that we have been playing. Let's try and keep it light and breezy, fellas.
I'll go first.
Do it.
I played a little bit of Civ Rev. I backslid some more. It's great. That's all I got. Let's not talk about it.
Little.
GTA's out next week, all right? So
I suppose that's true.
No, David asked a good question. Define a little.
I only played like a couple games, but that's sadly like half a day to a day.
You're playing it now.
Shh. I can't hear Civ over your talking.
You're interrupting Gandhi.
That's okay. Gandhi's a dick in that game.
Yeah, I know. God, he can suck my dick. God. No, I mean, it's like a decent guy in real life, but for some reason they make him the most ruthless bastard.
That's like
Actually,
Princess Peach always seems to win in Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Actually asked a friend about that, and apparently what happened is on like Civilization, I think 2, they had a aggressiveness scale from 1 to 10. And they meant to set him to 1 to have him just be like, try to win, peacefully. Mm-hmm. But they accidentally fat-fingered it and typed in 11 on a scale of 1 to 10. So, he would just like immediately try to get the nuke and start nuking people.
That is really
And so apparently
funny.
since then that's become like a trademark of the game. So now he's always just this ultra-aggressive.
It's funny.
Oh man,
Gandhi goes to 11.
He sea salts the earth. I don't understand. I don't know. That's kind of a deep cut. But let's see here. So I've been working my balls off here this past week, so I haven't played a whole hell of a lot. I put like an hour or two into. Dennis just typed into the Skype Gandhi, but it's instead of 1 I at the end, it's 2 1s, and that might be the title. Dethroning a dictionary for stupid people. No. So. Over the weekend, I after I replaced my desk, because whenever I'm nervous, I dig at this particular spot on my desk or my old one, and I dug a hole through my old one.
I saw you tweet about that.
Yeah. So over the course of 3 years, I crazied my way entirely through my desk.
Is this like with fingernails?
Fingernails. If I had like a pen or a pencil, I'd probably scratch at it too. Just like the veneer bubbled up, from setting a drink on it. Like it's like one particular place, like in relation, it's where I have my water bottle sitting right now. Mm-hmm. And just like right in front of the keyboard, and just scratching away until it went all the way to all the way through.
How does it feel to know that no prison will hold you, Cole?
Well, I still have to crawl through 500 yards of shit-smelling nastiness.
Homecoming
See,
to Mansfield.
never start like, I don't know, never develop like a nervous habit of like itching your arm or something.
Oh boy. No, so after I did that, it was late at night. It was spooky. I changed something about my environment, so I turned off all the lights and cranked up my headphones and played some of the original Amnesia.
Oh, sadistic bastard!
That's masochistic. Masochism is when you like pain to be inflicted on you. So just in preparation for A Machine for Pigs. So after getting my desk A Machine for Pigs. It's a sequel to the first, you see. I had it pre-ordered and I sat down and played a little bit of the original. Still pretty fucking scary, although it loses a little bit when like you recognize that there's no real consequence for dipping real low in sanity. So that's a bit of a bummer, and it makes you just a little bit more reckless with more conservative with the way you use your Tinder, I suppose. So I'm not using nearly as much of it as I should, but still real creepy. The main reason you want to play that with headphones is here's how they discourage it. When your sanity gets low enough, you hear your character grinding his teeth, and it's the worst sound in the world. Yeah.
By the way, I saw a little GIF. I'll have to look it back up for the show, but it was someone playing Amnesia with the Oculus Rift. And it like scares them out of their chair.
I'm sure. No, there was an article like on Joystick or something, which is like why Oculus Rift and other VR need an auto pause function for scary games, and their argument was you need to like the games need to pause when you rip the headphones or when you rip the goggles off, because you need somebody to like give you the kick to get out of this matrix. That metaphor
just
reference.
Have
metaphor.
A gyro attached to it so that when it flips upside down, like that's how they know to pause.
Yeah, just like a little VU meter to sense when you're freaking out, like when you're screaming. It's just like, hey, maybe chill out just a little bit.
They could probably add a EKG, right? Yeah,
maybe
a simple one.
They shouldn't do that because then they're going to make a game that monitors that and then makes it more scary the more scared you are.
Yeah, no, that was one of the more interesting proposed uses of the Wii Vitality sensor that I heard.
I just like the idea that the analog for the Oculus Rift of like Xbox off is like cocksucking motherfucker.
Jesus.
I guess we got a segment to bleep out now for this podcast.
I don't. Do you want me to bleep that out, Dennis? Do you want people to hear you saying that?
It's whatever way.
Okay. I'll marker it and see how I feel when I edit it.
There you go. Preserve the image of me as this.
Yeah.
You should bleep out.
now I have to bleep both of them. Oh God. So that's really it. Just like miscellaneous like iPad stuff here and there as I can barely muster the energy to do anything besides lay in bed and watch Community and play things on the iPad. So
that's not a life wasted, my friend. Community. Well, which season?
Season. I'm just going back through it again. Honestly, it's just season one right now. Season one.
Right.
Which season?
Answer the question, Cole.
He said seriously. Yeah.
It peaks in season 2. Decent season 3. All others, meh.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Season 2 is real good. I agree. Let us see here, David. I want to hear what you've been playing.
Honestly, not too much. I've been playing a little of Borderlands, both actually 1 and 2.
Okay.
One of my friends, I'm not sure if she's ever played through Borderlands before, or if she just wants to play some of the expansions they added.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we've started up a game with that. I did the soldier the first time around, and I still think Roland is one of my favorite characters. Definitely in the series, and probably one of my favorite characters, period. But I'm trying the Siren now.
Mm-hmm.
Was that Lilith, I think? So, yeah, real early on, just, about to go face whoever the first boss is. I forget his name.
Yeah. Doing this on PC?
Yeah.
Okay.
Although, doing Borderlands 2 on the PlayStation 3, so that's interesting. I'm still getting a hang of the controls. It's so weird not aiming for things, but aiming at things, if that makes sense.
As in not like I'm putting a cursor over a thing so it will die. It's like I am nudging this reticle like an air hockey puck towards until it rests over what I would like.
That too, but it's sort of like on the PC, it's like I am aiming at the person,
mm-hmm.
whereas on the PlayStation 4, it's like I'm vaguely aiming at them, and so that auto aim will make me hit it.
Yeah, and so I was about to say, like, I feel really weird for not having a preference over whether or not to play a first-person shooter with a mouse or a controller, just because like predictive aiming and things like that have made the experience. It's not like in Halo 1. Well, they did some pretty neat stuff with that too. Mm-hmm. But like I feel like we know what a first-person shooter should feel like on a console now, and like to me, in terms of actual utility and being able to hit the thing I mean to hit, there's almost no difference to my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, like, I'm to the point where I can't hit it. It's just, it's a completely different style of, like, I'm not aiming at anything in particular.
Yeah. I almost feel like on console games, at least shooters that are designed to be for console, it's less about like your aim or reflexes, and it's more about how well are you aware of your surroundings.
True.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing I've noticed, and again, this isn't something that's bad, it's just weird, is on a PC, you always have control of your aim because one hand is always on the mouse, whereas on a console, the aiming hand is also the hand that presses, the 4 buttons.
Yeah.
So, whenever you're, if you want to jump or, reload or, do any actions, you have to stop aiming, which is really weird for me.
Ben, I think that you're the one among us who's like the most proficient at console first-person shooters. Are we full of shit?
No, I mean, it's one of those things where I feel it's kind of like the progression of games, where it's like when first-person shooters were first introduced, like that was a new mechanic, so that was a new thing to master for players. But by the time you get to Halo, they had simple assist, where the cursor would kind of follow the target for a little bit if they pass through it.
Yeah,
and then with like Call of Duty, it just snaps to it, because I mean that's not the point of the game anymore. Yeah, There's new mechanics being introduced to master.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the other thing I'm noticing a lot, and maybe this is the thing, is that the way using a shotgun on the PC works is the way using every gun on a console feels. Rather, the way it feels, in terms of like I do a lot of my aiming not by aiming but by moving.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's interesting. In terms of the game itself, I'm still fairly far in, but It's you guys have all played. I mean, it's a fun game. Yeah, the voice acting for it's really, really good.
What part are you at right now?
I
guess maybe we should ask Kole first, because I don't know where you guys are in relation to one another.
I'm not the one. I mean, yeah. Don't ask me about Borderlands 2.
All right.
Just as a general course.
I think Ben was
like
more worried about
the
spoilers.
first thing
Yeah.
I would say would be innately a spoiler. So
Yeah, it wouldn't you'll say it, and because I don't know the significance of it, it won't ruin me at all.
Oh, I mean I'm right after you find out who Firehawk is.
Okay.
Or whatever.
Okay.
Okay. I always felt that one was fairly obvious, but maybe not. Huh.
I don't know. I have a weird thing where that type of plot twist I am incredibly blind to, whereas actual plot twists I usually can figure out.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but like that specific type of plot twist, as you can make it as obvious as you want, and I'll walk into it.
It's twist versus reveals, right?
Yeah, maybe. I think what is I'm very for me it's like logical, like wow. It's like logical, like, figuring out where the stories were going to go versus like reveals or whatever. But anyways, but yeah, that was fairly entertaining.
Anything else?
Beards.
Yeah. How about you, Dennis?
I've had a week of finishing what I start.
Oh.
Yeah. So I finished.
We don't know how to converse with you anymore now.
Yeah. different worlds.
Well, I feel like my immediate response is like, do you need us to help you hide the bodies?
Maybe I finished The Walking Dead.
Oh yeah. You texted me about that, and I rudely didn't respond to you because of craziness.
Fine. I cried like a baby, and we will rap about it later. But yeah, it was
Literally.
just
I'll turn my chair around.
yeah. But yeah, I just I think I expressed on the show earlier I was worried about finishing it just because I was worried the ending was going to fall apart, and it totally delivers.
Yeah.
So there's.
I'm going to ask a simple question about the ending, and it's a yes or a no. I just would like to know: did you do it?
If we're thinking about the same thing, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's all I need to know.
Yep.
Cool.
That's all I need to know, and we're no longer friends.
Yeah.
And I can't believe you monster.
No, I didn't do it either.
Well, hold on. I might be thinking about an earlier decision in the game.
We'll rap about it later.
Yeah, we'll rap about
it later.
That's kind of the great thing about the final chapter is there are all these big decisions that kind of come to fruition,
And some of them that are not decisions.
Right.
Yeah.
Which again, I feel like is kind of a theme of the game. It feels like, which is in the moment you don't really have a choice. But yeah, so super good. I finished the game, and again, it kind of made me bawl my eyes out right as my mother-in-law came over. And I don't think she's ever thought of video games past Mario Super Galaxy 2 or whatever. Super Mario Galaxy 2.
Mario Super Galaxy. The Chinese knockoffs.
So she's like, that's her concept of video games, and to have me just on the couch, really trying to pull myself together. I don't think she really knew how to react to that. So
you just vomiting from sorrow into the pot of plant in the corner as your cats
See that's why you keep.
Yeah.
That's why you keep a copy of War and Peace or something next to the wherever you're playing, so that if someone comes in, you just grab that and look like you're really deep.
Yeah. I also finished the Dark Souls DLC.
Ooh, cool.
Oh,
Yes.
cool.
And I had forgotten. I love the DLC. I think it's got some of the strongest content in the game, which I'm sure would inform our discussion from a couple of weeks ago. But I'd forgotten what it was like for Dark Souls to be scary.
Oh yeah.
Like, I know the rest of the game well enough that it's not really scary anymore. It's a challenge, but it's not scary. Whereas all these new areas, I was genuinely like, it's scary again, which was awesome. So and they really encourage that, because you find the bloat heads, and I was scared half to death. And then you kind of figure those out, and then you find the humanity sprites, and you're scared half to death. And then you kind of figure those out, which begs the question, what happens if you're scared to death twice? But
that's how zombies happen.
Yeah, I guess. You're welcome. And then Manus delivered as like a really strong end boss, where it's a very, very difficult and challenging fight, but also very fair, I felt like. Mm-hmm. I wound up bringing in help to beat him. But again, that's part of the game, so it's fair. But really, really enjoyed it as a whole. I think there's still some stuff I have to go back and kind of mop up. Mm-hmm. I've never really paid much attention to arrows, so I'm kind of ignoring the Calamide fight for the time being.
Yeah.
Arrows.
Arrowed.
Yeah. I need to do some figuring out before I honestly go after that. But it was great to have Dark Souls be scary again. And then the final... Oh, go ahead.
And he wept, for there were no more worlds left to conquer.
Yeah. Well, until... When is the release date?
March 2014.
And I've got to go through and play Demon's Souls. So,
yeah, you do.
Yeah. I was really happy, because it meant I could... beating the Dark Souls DLC meant I could start listening to Bonfireside chat again.
Yeah.
And now I'm like 2 episodes away from the end of that. By the way, sorry, I'm going to do a plug in the middle of this. The speedrunning episode of Bonfireside Chats is just amazing. So go listen to it. It's so cool.
Yeah.
I actually, followed the dude and everything. It was just really, really cool. I absolutely loved it.
Really talented, really knowledgeable guy.
Yeah. I tried to find his like world record or his personal best runs on his YouTube, and they're hard to dig up. So
yeah.
Anyway, I also got and started with Jen Rayman Legends.
Oh yeah.
Which is freaking phenomenal. Mm-hmm. So like,
that has those really cool music levels, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I haven't gotten to them yet. So I've played relatively little of it, because I'm doing everything co-op, which is how I did the first game and how I will always do these games, just because they're so much fun that way. But everything that you love about the first game is just purified and crystallized, and like just they get what made that game so fun, and they really run with it in the second game. So I think I said when I talked about Rayman Origins that like the loading screen just turns into your own little like mini fighting game. Mm-hmm. You just while you're waiting for it to load, you slap each other around essentially, and they've like made an entire set of mini games around that.
Yeah.
So there's cool. It's like there's like a soccer game where you're trying to score, so you're batting your opponent out of the way and trying to smack the ball into the right goal, and it's so much fun. And it's one of those things where you can pick it up and play, and it's super simple, but then also you kind of learn all the little tricks, and there's some depth there as well.
Yeah.
So far the main game has been kind of more of the same, but that's completely okay. The big twist, I guess you would call it, this was originally designed for the Wii U. Mm-hmm. And they had, if you're holding the special gamepad, you have a little character that can help by like cutting ropes and moving platforms. And it was all this stuff that was meant to be like touch activated, which obviously doesn't work for other consoles. So they've kind of relegated those actions to just a simple button press. Which works really, really well, except both players, when you're doing multiplayer, both players can instruct the guy to do something. So it creates a lot of hilarious instances where, like, we both kind of shortly one after the other press the button to move a platform and just kind of move it down and then immediately out of the way, and we both fall to our deaths. Or, just you kind of inadvertently wind up, screwing the other player, or you get into these just really weird predicaments because of that. And the game, like, when you die, you're never sent more than, 15 seconds backwards. So it's not frustrating, and the game just has so much personality and so much humor to it that half the time I enjoyed the stupid ways I died as much as I enjoyed succeeding.
Yeah.
So, it is an excellent game, and I can't wait to talk about it more.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I was just going to say, you told me something about the cage.
Oh, yeah, just one of the funniest moments. And we literally had to pause the game just because we were laughing so hard. But you're saving these little guys out of cages the entire time. And there's one that's hanging from a cage on like a string, and it's over like a bottomless pit. But for whatever reason, that didn't sink in. So we're both kind of standing on this ledge, and we're like, okay, cut him down. And snap, cut the wire. And then we both just stand there stupidly and watch the thing fall past us and into the pit. And there's like this pause, and then I look over at Jen, and I'm like, well, I don't know what I expected. And it was just all the, like I said, the game is just so good natured and funny and well put together that there's no frustration when things go wrong, because they always go wrong in funny and amusing ways.
Yeah.
So
it's goddamn gorgeous too.
Yeah, and in fact, that's going to play into a question later on.
Yeah. No, it's something I've been asking for a while, which is like a high def 2D platformer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just like what can we do when we just have the ability to do these really awesome high res hand drawn assets? And the answer is make something great and expressive like this.
Yeah. Oh, one more thought. They don't do the bullshit take away all your powers that you got in the last game at the beginning of the second game thing. So you just start the game with all the powers you accrued over the first game, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So, you can swim, you can sprint, you can hover, you can do everything, which is just really, really nice.
Yeah. Neat. Yeah, I think I played a demo of this last year at like a GameStop on their Wii U demo unit thing, and I was really amused by those tablet sequences. Those made my day. Now, the tablet sequences, is there a part of the game where it kind of like the play goes to the tablet and you're not focusing on the screen? No, I mean, it's just like one person has control over the level while the other person doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've read about there are sections where like there's entire puzzles that you do on the tablet. I just haven't come across them yet. So
yeah.
So yeah, good stuff. That's what I've been playing.
Neat. I think that wraps everybody up.
Multiplayer.
Now it's time for the multiplayer section where we ask you to participate with us. Now, we didn't do one last week. It was supposed to be free play last week. So we just kind of sat on those questions for a little bit. And, we got a couple. So why don't we go right through them? What I am going to do, I've got 2 that are emails, so I'm not going to dip into the Facebook well for right now.
These are going to be surprise off the cuff ones.
Yes. So some of them should be pretty easy to answer. So Franz, via the contact page, says, I've got to ask, did any of you play The Secret World? It's pretty good. It's a pretty good MMORPG that managed to replace Dark Souls as my main time sink. I'm asking because it handles DLC and in-app purchases very well. You can spend money on cosmetic items, convenience items, like being able to repair gear in the field, and mission packs with very well-written storylines that tie into the main narrative. Highly recommended. Then he continues, or maybe not, since you guys seem to live in a weird parallel universe where Dishonored was made by the people who made Daikatana. In my universe, the game was made by X Looking Glass and Deus Ex people, and it's amazing.
That's funny. I think we got to throw over to David for this one, right?
Yeah, you played Secret World.
I really, really, really loved The Secret World, and I actually meant to go back this weekend and start playing again, but I just ran out of time. I really, really liked that game.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes.
Have you played since it went free to play?
I actually have not. Although I think to very briefly go back and kind of wrap up our you fight last
it wasn't a fight. It was just a spirited conversation.
Yeah, but it's more fun if we pretend it.
Not really. I don't want us to be fight. I don't.
Are you fight? I am fight.
But I feel like also the whole, I think the way free to play should work is you buy the game and then the gameplay is free.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to be able to give a legitimate, not a crappy game, but still have it be, accessible.
Yeah.
And, that's what they did. So, yeah, no, I know they've done a lot of really good updates. And I think they actually just did another one like this last weekend. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really curious about it. I wish there was a Mac client, but such is life.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate because, it's a game that very much could work with that.
Well, I mean, it could work on a computer.
Well, no, I just mean more like...
It's out there.
I know, like, I feel like the type of games that the Mac games, tend to be a lot of, like, puzzly games, and I feel like the vibe it has would work with the type of games that tend to be on Mac, which presumably are the type of games that Mac players like.
It's more, it has a really indie feel, and
I guess
a lot of the PC games that come to Mac or are developed for Mac are released concurrently. They're indie games.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. So why don't we dip into the Facebook stuff? Ben, what's GeoLaw say?
GeoLaw says, give your strongest takedown of a popular game. Don't hold back.
Yeah. This is hard.
What do you got? What you got, Cole?
No, I really don't know that I have one. So here's the thing. Like, it's really difficult for me to do a takedown when I've resigned myself to this position that it's okay for me to accept that there can just be things that I don't like because they're not for me, not because they're just bad.
Inherently bad, yeah.
So, like, multiplayer-based first-person shooters, I really can't get into them just because I'm not good at them, and there are plenty of people who like them, and they can be good in their own right. I don't know if that's, like, I hope that doesn't read as, like, fake magnanimity, but that's genuinely how I feel. So I could be like, Call of Duty, blah, 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 it's a cash cow, blah, blah. It's like, but that's a little bit played out, and it would be kind of disingenuous because I don't know that I believe it. That, and I don't play or pay attention to things that I don't like.
Oh, here, I got one.
All right.
Dark Souls.
Snap!
You don't respect my time, I don't respect you. So
you just talked about how you played and beat the DLC and liked it.
I don't believe in this whole consistency thing. No, it's I'm willing to admit that maybe there's something there, but if you're going to lock it between 100 hours of having to learn something that is way too difficult and poorly explained, it's just not worth the effort to get to the good stuff.
No, I can agree with that. Yeah. No, but I mean, yeah. Okay, so that, like, that's an explanation for, like, why I wouldn't feel angry at somebody for not giving Dark Souls a shot. Like, my initial reaction to Dark Souls was not positive.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, somebody just brought it up in an email too. It was really funny.
That's funny.
Yeah, I just remember, we had won the level, and you're like, this game is awful, and then the next level, and you come on, you're like, I haven't slept in days.
It was okay. So it was one DTR where I was like, man, this is bullshit. You attack with the right bumper, and then it was like the next 20 episodes were all guys.
I feel like this thing's really hard for me because this is like, that's my normal MO. So it's kind of like I've used up all my material. So first I would say, like, see anything I've said about the Elder Scrolls series, God of War, or Counter-Strike.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like probably the most legitimate one would be Skyrim. I feel like it's fundamentally it's that guy. I feel like Skyrim is the video game version of that guy who has to, like, try to do something really, really complex to show off, and then like fails and lets everyone down. And it's like, no, I don't respect you for trying hard because no one asked you to try hard. We asked you to make a good game, and you didn't.
Yeah, it's effort, like brute force effort by just creating as much content as possible.
Yeah.
Something you said actually spurred something in me. Like third-person action games, I generally think that they're incredibly shallow, and by that I mean God of War, Devil May Cry, things like that. I know that these are games you guys all really like, but it feels like a lot of spectacle and not an awful lot of like. Not thinks. Like I'm not saying like, oh, I need to think when I'm playing a game, but it just doesn't. It's not an aesthetic that agrees with me.
Unless you're willing to crank up the difficulty all the way and put in the time to master it, you can just get through with mashy.
Yeah. So I don't know. How about you, Ben?
All right, yeah. So this was one that I kind of had a hard time with as well. Similar to your reason, Cole, because I don't think I like saying things are objectively bad, or like a lot of times
I hate to cut you off, but like it's kind of our place to be critical, but I feel like we can examine a thing on its own merits and be even-handed about it. So I don't want people to hear that and think that we're not doing our job. Continue. I'm very sorry about interrupting you.
So I'm not sure. So there's certainly games that I don't like that were popular as far as sales go, but I don't know how popular they were with the gamers. So like Far Cry 3, Mass Effect 3, Dishonored, unfortunately. Those were games that I was not a huge fan of that I played through. Also, I think this is one that I'll kind of out myself on. The boss battle in Half-Life 2 Episode 2 at the end.
Oh, like the buggy sequence?
Yeah, well, yeah. I've heard a lot of people say that that's like an amazing ending to a game, and I don't see that. I see it as like, oh, it's kind of like a mission in the middle of the game. Oh, that's the ending of the game. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Would you say that about the whole of Episode 2?
No. I like Episode 2.
Yeah.
Just that last mission for some reason. So that's about the harshest of a takedown I can give.
Yeah.
That's the meanest I've ever heard Ben be.
I'm so sorry, guys. Cole, please bleep all of that out.
Well, it's funny because we're like, in general, we're all pretty like positive. I don't know. I feel weird self-applying that label, but we're charitable as a group, I think.
See, I feel like Ben, you could have criticized, one of the Treyarch games, but then I realized he said popular games. So.
Popular,
sorry, that was my takedown.
Lots of people playing this. Popular.
Sorry, that was my takedown. I actually liked the Treyarch games, but it was too easy.
It's tough to answer this question because of like how you define popular. I guess what I'm trying to think of is a game that everybody else likes except for me.
Yeah, like if you feel crazy because you just like don't get it or something.
Yeah,
actually, if we're going by that, probably for me it would be Final Fantasy before everyone hated Final Fantasy, particularly 7.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get.
I don't know. Let's see here. Dennis, what's Phil say?
So Phil asks, what is your favorite childhood gaming memory? Also, Dr. Moneysmith is my favorite Bond villain.
Was that an Australian?
I don't know. It's
Bond's
Dr.
branching
Moneysmith,
out,
Mom.
okay?
You're a wise man, Phil. Someday your day will come.
When I take over the world, I kill you last.
You're going to be the last against the wall. Yeah. I can do mine. I talk about this a lot on Watch Out for Fireballs. But
Can I guess it?
You may if you would like.
Is it buying a strategy guide for Zelda?
Have I talked about that at all?
I've heard it mentioned before.
I don't remember. I don't have any distinct memory of buying a strategy guide for Zelda.
This is one that your family mentioned to me.
Oh, really? What?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, well. Guess it wasn't that impactful. I'll make sure to tell your family next time.
Yeah. I remember playing a lot of games with my dad. Like Zombies Ate My Neighbors, GoldenEye, stuff like that. Just on vacations or just hanging out in the basement playing those. That was a lot of fun. Like when we first got the Super Nintendo and things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah. Who else?
Did you pwn him in GoldenEye?
No, we never played competitively. It was like let's take a level and then beat it and see who got like everybody plays a round of it and see like who gets the best stats because it gave you the rollout at the end. So like highest accuracy, like least number of bullets shot, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, cool. So we never really did multiplayer so much as like let's just try and get really good at these levels.
Nice.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's the whole co-opetition type of deal.
Yeah. Who else?
Can I say all of Pokemon?
Yeah, it's a hell of a memory, but yes, I will allow it.
No, I don't know. I feel like this one's hard just because like there's so many of them that was just like games that when I was playing them, those like that defined to a large degree like that time. Yeah, you kind of know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or like yeah. So I'd say probably the biggest. I don't know. Maybe Magi Nation. Mm-hmm. That's just a game that like I don't know. I liked a lot, and also like just. I don't know, like the timing, like that was, exactly the type of game I wanted to be playing. I don't know, like the timing of it was good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I'll go. So what are we defining as the end of childhood?
First time you got laid.
Because last week,
Yeah. Some kind of
last week, I don't know. What was I going to say? So it's kind of hard to tell. I kind of agree with David where a lot of like video games from my childhood really define the times. So a few that I can think of that I'll throw out. Playing through Donkey Kong Country with my brother when we first got a Super Nintendo was amazing. Had a lot of fun with that. And then also one of my friends, Aaron Snedden, when we were in like 4th or 5th grade, on the weekends he would always walk down to my house and pack his PlayStation with Grand Theft Auto in it, and we would just like play that all night. So
yeah,
that was a lot of fun. This was the original top-down,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lifelong love affair was born. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
Mine is sort of similar. It was Crash Team Racing, which was the Crash Bandicoot knockoff of Mario Kart. And we bought a multi-tap, if anyone remembers those, specifically so me and my two brothers could play against each other.
Oh, yeah.
And we never did races. We always did the battle mode because it was actually really good. I don't like the battle mode in Mario Kart. I don't know why. It just never did it for me. But in Crash Team Racing, it was really good, and it was one of those things where it's what makes a game fun is not necessarily playing with people who are good. It's playing with people who are evenly matched. Mm-hmm. And the three of us were really evenly matched, and so it was just really incredibly fun, and it got really intense just because you kind of learn how each other plays, and with that level of familiarity, you kind of get grudges going, and try to trick each other with deviating from what you usually do, and it was kind of a nice little microcosm for how close I was to my brothers, I guess. Like that was a way for us to hang out and enjoy something that if a fourth person had been introduced into it, they just wouldn't get the same thing out of it. Right. So, yeah.
Most of these involved other people.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
We have the ability to be social. Amazing.
What were you going to say, David?
I was going to say, can I actually take a mulligan? Now that I think of it more, I think I might have to go with the Halo Club after after school. Both Cole and I went to the same high school, and I don't remember the exact but basically for like a year, like every day after school would go to his place with just a ton of people and just have massive like game, matches of Halo 1.
Yeah, like down in the basement. It would be like, yeah, this was like late in high school too. It was like we were leaving early because of like post-secondary college stuff, and then it's like, yeah, let's just go do this. It was like
Nice.
whole summers and stuff dedicated to it. Yeah, it was definitely one of those time and place things, because like when everybody else in the group, if you're listening, I'm sorry if I sound uncharitable, everybody else in the group got more interested in poker and getting high. And I wasn't so much into that. I was like, okay, cool, we can part ways. That's fine.
Wow.
That was part of the reason why I asked, where do you define childhood ending? Because, yeah, I had a lot of fun doing Halo tournaments as well in high school.
Yeah.
Capture the flag on Blood Gulch.
Yeah. Well, it was funny.
Yeah,
we had the whole basement generally, so we could do network stuff where people would bring TVs, and we would have like full 4 Xbox LAN parties happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was like probably the only time I ever actually got good at a game, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Just from like sheer like repetition of it. And I'm trying to think like how many of the people can I still remember their screen name they played under.
Yeah, there's like the Dictator Tot and Sippy Cup. Yeah.
Yep.
Those were my favorites. Yeah. So, yeah, it's all good stuff. I like that. Let us see here. David, what's Murph say?
Murph says, everyone clamors for the best graphics, but what do you think has the best aesthetics? Shadow of the Colossus, Yoshi's Island, Wind Waker, Mad World, Bayonetta, Blood Dragon?
That's like in descending order.
See, one I wanted to ask, like, I played Yoshi's Island briefly. I do not remember, like, did that have, like, a really awesome setup? Like, I just don't remember that.
It had a distinctive look. Like, I enjoy it because it was, like, really bold and colorful. But it kind of looked like pastel or crayon.
Okay, because like I don't not remember that. That's just like of my very vague recollection of it. All I remember is like, wow, Yoshi really has a thing for fruit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah. Well, how about you, David? Like, do you have one who's like aesthetics you really dig?
I'm kind of going to cheat and take a twofer. This is not my first choice, but one that I feel like doesn't quite, I'm not sure gets the respect it deserves in this respect is the, wow, I'm completely blank here. Sorry, is the Gears of War series.
Okay.
I think graphically, it has a very distinct look in terms of the weird, kind of the way it animates, some of the blood and, the world design I think is very strong. I think the sort of like, I kind of like the carrying your action hero to the logical conclusion and having like everyone be a football player type thing. I feel like there's a lot of cool things. Like I feel like the Lancer and like the chain gun bayonet, I just feel like that's just a very it's kind of a really cool idea just distilled down to like a really good implementation.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's one that doesn't get enough, although I think my number one would probably have to be the Borderlands games.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
I think, I really like their sort of like pseudo concept art look.
Mm-hmm.
I also think part of this may be because, I like guns, but I sort of like their kind of weird like gun world, like they've kind of built, I feel like Pandora is really well put together in terms of being this just complete madhouse.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really, good stuff.
How about you, Ben?
Yeah. You mentioned Shadow of the Colossus. It's hard to pass over that one.
Yeah.
Just because, that is so gorgeous.
I think that... no.
Go ahead.
No. I was... Again, I have to think for interrupting you. I apologize.
That's all right. But... All right. I'll keep going. I will say...
If I must.
Even though... So, like, I like Silent Hill, but that's going for graphics. You know, that's not as stylized.
Do you think...
Yes.
It might be going for both, but I mean, I guess for some reason I'm kind of excluding games that have good graphics, but I'm also including Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah. No, I mean, I just think in terms of like establishing an atmosphere and then just overall design, like if you look at the aesthetics of the other world, I would make that a...
Okay.
But this is your point to make.
I was going to use the example of Limbo. I thought that had a really good aesthetic of kind of pulling in a depressing atmosphere.
You stole what was initially going to be mine.
Sorry, bro.
No, it's fine.
Should have asked me what I thought.
Shouldn't have interrupted me.
Especially with that game, how everything kind of reinforces the sort of dangerous element or the idea that the character you're playing in might have committed suicide, maybe, you know. It's kind of ambiguous, but I don't know, whatever. But I think that has a really good aesthetic.
Yeah. No, Limbo is definitely a winner. That's one that, like, even at work is bandied about, like, as the best example of doing more with less. Which isn't to say that it didn't take effort, but everything is achieved with silhouette, tone, and focus.
Yeah. And what else? Along the same lines, but for a more limited extent, it's the game that MIT put out, like Fly something. It's the one that's about depression.
Yeah. Let me see here. MIT depression game.
It's one word title.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up now.
Oh, but speaking of that, speaking of this flow of thought,
Elude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, Journey and Flower both have beautiful aesthetics. Even though Journey kind of did the same thing that like Uncharted did, where it's like, hey, we can double up snow and desert, and that'll save a lot of production time. Let's do that. They still had a really beautiful aesthetic too.
Yeah.
So. All right, that's all I got.
Cool.
Nice.
Sorry for interrupting you, bro.
That's all right.
Dennis, how about you?
Yeah, mine, again, I kind of alluded to this. Mine has to be Rayman Origins / now Rayman Legends. Just every tiny piece of that world screams like wacky humor. And there is no part of the game that isn't just completely in line with what that experience is all about. Down to like the idle animations on the enemies as you're coming up on them. Like they'll just... If you pay attention, especially, it's kind of funny coming from Rayman Origins where you're kind of familiar with the moves and then seeing all the little extra stuff that they've added to the main characters. Do you still call them sprites? To the main character sprites.
Yeah, kind of.
You know, so it's like, oh, hey, when I move that way, that's a new thing and that's kind of funny. Or, you know, oh, he fell down a different way when he got hit. And like, it's almost got this like surprise and delight factor to it, which is really nice.
Yeah.
But just every tiny little piece of that world is so much personality and it all fits together.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was going to use Limbo as an example of aesthetics over graphics, and then also Silent Hill, just in terms of building a world. But I think that like my favorite, and if somebody presented a good like challenge to this, I would probably say, okay, yeah, or a better alternative, but Machinarium.
Ooh,
yeah, Machinarium.
Can I take mine back?
Yeah, Machinarium for me.
Answer.
Just like as a complete package of like, I love the really like sketchy but heavily kind of like hand drawn rendering of the background world. Like just the color palette, like it's really like limited and restricted and muted, but still pretty expressive. And they have these splashes of color that are around. The character designs are awesome. And then like the music and sound. Like I'm outspoken with my about my love of the Machinarium soundtrack. But just it is just so good, and it contributes so much just to the look and feel of it. And I just have to say that like aesthetically, I would love to see that applied to something maybe that had a higher production value, like that level of aesthetic, that kind of like really elaborate look and feel with a bit more motion to it. But yeah, it is fantastic. In fact, I kind of want to download it for my iPad and just like play it tonight as I go to sleep.
You totally should. I haven't talked about it on this show, I don't think, but I'm playing through it again, and it's completely awesome.
Yeah. No.
Can I air a beef?
Okay?
Yeah. I actually tried to buy an icon from that game, just like the main characters. Or just the main character as my PlayStation avatar.
Okay.
Like, because when I started playing it again, I liked the look of it enough that I was like, I really want that to be my avatar. Mm-hmm. And it was only 50 cents, but you have to add money to the PlayStation Store in $5 increments.
Oh, so
that's not cool, dog.
So you forever have 50 cents left over on your stuff.
Right? Yeah. Well, I forever have $4.50 left over.
Yeah.
And it was to make things worse. It was like 3 days after I had bought the Dark Souls DLC.
Oh.
So it's like, I just gave you a bunch of money. You can't let me slide on this 50 cents thing. It's like, nope, $5.
Fine.
So.
He actually does it in that voice.
Yeah.
It comes up and
No, it goes bling, and then it like loads for 50 minutes and then tells you, nope, $5.
Yeah. That's too bad. I don't know. That's discouraging me because I would like to make that my one of my avatars on something. But
yeah, it's so yeah. I'm glad you brought it up because I would have been very sad if I had thought of that later after the show. So
I think Braid also probably counts, but again, I'm factoring music into that. But
yeah, and that's kind of got the sketch aesthetic to it.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Although I still feel like music is huge in aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's I mean, obviously, and this is one that probably, maybe could be said for this, Portal 2 has kind of been on my mind recently, and that's that I think that's a good example where music and voice acting and sound effects can just completely make the feel of something.
Yeah, and that's one of those things, like, I love listening to video game soundtracks while I work, but if you try and, like, listen to the Portal soundtrack divorced of the game, it sounds like two modems arguing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little... It's disappointing.
Electronic Philip Glass. It's amazing.
I love Philip Glass, though.
So what you're saying is you don't like dubstep?
Maybe. Let's see here. Who hasn't gone yet, Ben or David?
Which one are we on?
Truman.
Aesthetics?
That was question number 4, including the email. So we're back around to Kole.
Ah, okay, cool. So let's look here. This is more of just like an FYI that somebody wanted us to be aware of as I pull it up. But someone needs to play Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. It's out on everything now, but I played it on Xbox Live earlier this summer. It's the kind of game that you will spoil if I talk about it. But I can tell you this: it's an adventure game set in a fantasy universe. It's full of personality. It's gorgeous. It's short, and the ending gave me movie goosebumps. $15 might seem steep, but does this game deserve support? Yes, it does. I butchered that. It's right there with Left Behind, Journey, Braid, except no one is talking about it. Left Behind? Are you thinking about Gone Home? I'm not sure. I hope one of you gives it a try.
I think it's referencing the popular End Times fiction series.
The Kirk Cameron movies. Yeah. I hope one of you gives it a try because I think it's one of the top games to come out this year. I have fully intended to. I need to fix that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've been eyeing that one as well. I guess I need to go seek out some literature on it or seek out. Not that this opinion isn't enough, but harkening back to, I'm really close with my brothers. And so it's like, hey, anything that talks about that kind of like The Brothers Bloom is my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah.
And so like that sort of thing I could see being really appealing.
Yeah. Yep. So, thank you very much for pointing that out. I will attempt to rectify that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What are we looking at here? Who wants to go next? I believe it is Ben. I don't know. Ben, Ben. read Christopher Schlees.
I
you don't
believe
have to
we're on
know.
Truman, right?
We
yes.
skipped Truman.
Truman. Okay, go ahead and do Truman.
Come on, man.
Sorry.
All right. Do you want movie adaptations of your favorite video games made? Why or why not? Also, what do you think of Hotline Miami 2?
No.
To both questions?
For
I
movie,
don't think about it.
for movie adaptation, no, I really don't. Just because I used to be of the opinion that you could do it, but I think that whenever it happens, you take away something fundamental about why that thing was good. Like, if it's a good game, it was a good game because there was something about that story that could only be done in this medium, to my mind. And so taking it and doing it something else, taking it and making it into something else makes it fundamentally a different thing, and almost inherently unfaithful to the source material.
That said, I would be intrigued by an Uncharted movie. And I guess the caveat I would make is I would not want the plot from the video game or from one of the video games lifted and turned into movie form. I would want a movie set in the same universe as the games. I think I could enjoy that.
But you would just watch Romancing the Stone.
Or Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Yeah. But still, I guess not having the characters that look exactly like the...
Here's the question. Given a choice between a movie of Uncharted and another video game of Uncharted, which would you rather have?
After Uncharted 3, I would have to seriously consider the answer to that. Yeah.
Touché. Usually I'm the one bad-mouthing Uncharted 3. All right.
Yeah.
I feel like I think the problem with this is I feel like when you make a tie-in or an adaptation, what you need to look at it is, what is it about this that made it good? And I feel like the thing is, you're not trying to port over the game. You're trying to translate the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I feel that's what people often forget. So, I think especially, some of the games I would think even Hitman could potentially be a good movie, but the problem is you'd have to look at it and say, what is it about Hitman that made it good? Mm-hmm. And they didn't. So I think that's why so many of them fail. I think the other thing is...
One of us has to break it to him, Ben. I'd rather it be you. You can be more
realize
gentle.
that Hitman was made into a movie.
Yeah,
and
no, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
All right.
I'm saying I think that's why it was. What I'm saying is I think that's why it was a bad movie, and I think it didn't have to be.
So this is really, really interesting because I've never played the Hitman games, and I watched the second Hitman movie, and actually
the second movie?
What?
I think that's maybe I watched the first. I
refuse to believe this.
I watched a Hitman movie, having not played the games, and totally enjoyed it as a big dumb action movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things though is I feel like all the games that people say should be in a movie. Usually it's because it was a game that was trying to make you feel like you were in a movie. For example, Uncharted. And I feel like that's almost inherently a bad idea because therefore the thing that made the game cool was that it was felt like a movie, and therefore innately you can't translate feels like you're playing a movie to a movie.
Yeah.
So
I was good.
But I would say, as an example, and granted, I'm not sure this would be a good movie, but it's, something I can give an easy example. The reason I love Devil May Cry is over-the-top action and, a likable, entertaining character. And so I feel like, theoretically at least, that could be translated into a movie, but you'd have to make sure to keep those things.
Yeah. Look at something like Silent Hill, which in game form is a Japanese interpretation of American horror, right? Specifically American horror movies and things. Like, the thing that makes Silent Hill really awesome is the ambience and the kind of the atmosphere and the inherent like story that's just kind of like happening that's inferred, right? Which is at odds with what movies generally try and do, like outside of the Tree of Life or something, which is not build atmosphere. It is to tell a directed story. And like a huge thing about Silent Hill is, I know that I have to continue to explore this in order to progress. I don't want to, because I dread seeing what like the next horror is, right? But I have to keep going forward. There's that tension. And yeah, movies are interactive in a way that, like, on any given frame, I can decide to pause it and take the disc out. What am I, caveman? Delete the file from whatever device I'm watching it on, and then move on. Like, yeah,
delete
like,
it from Netflix.
Yeah, yeah. Just like put in a call to their data centers. Like, oh, well, I'm done with this one. Therefore, everybody else is done.
Burn it down.
Yeah.
See. But I agree, although I guess I almost feel like almost the way it should be looked at is the question a person before they make the movie should ask themselves is what movies bring to the storyline something that's going to add to this? So, like, for example, obviously they make a crap ton of books to the in the movies, and I feel like what movies fundamentally bring to that is, showing you what happened, which is something a book can't do. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, inherently I feel like what you'd have to ask would almost be like, could I take this story and add something to it by having a stronger, more directed, more together story at the expense of interactiveness? Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, it does. It makes perfect sense to me. Ben, how about you? What are your feels?
I agree with David on a couple different points where I do feel that movie any given movie has less functionality than a video game does if you compare the two, because a video game has interactivity and that totally trumps a movie. And it's similar to the conversation we had with the developer from Spec Ops, where he was talking about how watching a movie is a much more passive experience, where, and part of that is you can kind of sit and meditate on things. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of solved in a video game with cutscenes, like they can also have that same functionality in a video game as well, mm-hmm. with the added ability to have the player can take ownership of the characters. Mm-hmm. So when I think of like games that I really love, like Shadow of the Colossus, for example, if that were a movie, it would be completely uninteresting, because so much of that game is you playing around with a puzzle and you figuring things out, and it requires so much interactivity on your part. And so, yeah, a movie would just kind of strip so many of the good elements out of that, And I wanted to comment on the movie you mentioned of Silent Hill, because that's one of the very few video game movies that I actually really enjoyed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like it. I like that movie.
Yeah. I wasn't trying to say that you didn't. But that's, I think that's very much an exception to the rule, because it required the director to have, played all the games and thought really long and hard about what themes he wanted to bring across in the movie and how he wanted to portray the movie. And I think that kind of work is not typically done when people make video game movies. It's typically something like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Resident Evil. I don't know. Yeah, any Uwe Boll movie.
Although I still maintain that the Resident Evil movies have now wrapped around back to being decent movies.
Well, the Resident Evil movies are just the director's excuse to say, "Hey, look at my hot wife."
Yeah.
No, I agree. She's an attractive woman. However,
sounds like jealousy, Cole.
So,
Dude, it's 3 a.m. Take your hot wife and go back to your house.
so quit parading her around. Yeah.
So, in short, I would agree with Cole's answer. No. But,
Yeah.
what about Hotline Miami too?
I'm excited about it. I love Hotline Miami. I was initially discouraged when I found out that there was implied sexual assault, maybe implied rape. Who knows? But the designer responded and said, "Yeah, maybe that's a bit gratuitous." So, my feelings on it are restored, and I am looking forward to a thing.
Nice.
Yeah. Anybody else? I forget. Have you guys played Hotline Miami?
I have not.
I haven't. It's I don't know. It's one of those things I have no idea whether or not it's for me until I try it. But
Yeah.
I've got enough other stuff to play that I haven't gotten around to trying it.
Yeah, true. It's Mackable.
I really like the trailers. So
Yeah, the trailers are pretty good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so disappointed that the whole it's Hotline Miami 2 the wrong number, that this doesn't involve the guys who give you the jobs just like accidentally calling up the wrong person.
Oh, no,
And, like-
you're describing the plot to The Big Lebowski, David.
Yeah. But it's the Big Lebowski if like the dude then like picked up a baseball bat and started going to town.
If the dude was Walter.
Yeah, if somebody pissed on Walter's
Basically.
rug. Oh, man. I'm going to edit this next one down just a little bit. I'm sorry, Christopher, but it is a longish episode. He says, puzzles. If there's one thing I miss from a lot of older games, it's puzzles. I miss the days when I could spend an entire day at school not learning anything because I'm stuck trying to think out a ridiculously weird or difficult one. He goes on to describe a particularly difficult puzzle in Sam and Max. It was particularly Hit the Road, the one that was initially the first one, But then he goes on to ask, what are some of your favorite puzzles from games? Or perhaps ones that drive you batshit insane? And feel free to recommend a good puzzler, because I need something to think about while people at work are droning on about some sort of business nonsense. Yeah.
Well, have you met Dark Souls? No.
Yeah. So, like, I dig a lot of adventure game stuff. I love the more bizarre the better, honestly. Man, this is hard. This is just like boiling down to one of my favorite items, but you need a light bulb at a certain point in Silent Hill 2, and the way that you get it is you go into the kitchen, you open a can, and there are light bulbs in the can. It's like, there's no reason for that to be a thing, and it's not even really a puzzle. It's just, have you examined and tried mashing all these items together in a certain way. Yeah, narrative puzzles like something like Slouching Towards Bedlam has quite a few of those, like in terms of how to get the optimal the optimal result out of the story. And then how that messes with the notion of loading and saving and things like that makes it part of the narrative. It's real good. Those are just two examples, a non-example and then a real example that pops into my head. Yeah. I
got a recommendation. I don't know if it's still free, but there is a little iPhone game called The Curse, and it's literally just a big book of puzzles that you play on your iPhone.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like a cutesy little like, oh, hey, you open this app up and it's released a curse, and I'm this guy that you've let the genie out of the bottle, and now you've got to solve these puzzles to right the wrong or whatever. But it's just there's a lot of really good variety of the puzzles, and so it's great just to pull out, mess around with the puzzle, put away, kind of think about it. I like that they've got both traditional puzzles, but also then riddles, which is really fun. And what Chris talked about with the kind of like, I'm at work, but my mind is back on some puzzle I'm working on. I'm like that with riddles. I really like that. So, yeah, The Curse.
Yeah. I'm going to supplement my answer and just say all of Riven. because like Riven doesn't have like too many individual puzzles, but the whole game itself is one, which I think is really neat, especially as compared to like Myst, like the first one, which was entirely, like you're in these different ages, and everything is kind of in isolation. Whereas with Riven, you're going across these 5 different islands, and like all of it is tied together in a certain way. Yeah,
Cool.
How about you, Ben?
The 2 I could think of course, Portal 2, I feel like has a really good puzzle design where, like, just when I don't know, I just like their ability to be able to make a complex environment that has one answer for a puzzle. Like, I think it would be really hard to make puzzles like that. So I was pretty entertained by that. Also, I liked the cave. I know me and Dennis might differ on this, perhaps, or we had different experiences on the game, but I thought that had good puzzles in it, all 7 of them. So,
Yeah, I don't remember disliking the cave. I just kind of petered out on it.
okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Oh, there were some that were god awful though. I'm thinking of the time traveler.
Yeah.
I remember ranting about that now.
Yeah.
I remember taking down that popular game.
Yeah, there.
There we are. Yeah. How about you, David?
I don't know. I mean, traditionally speaking, I'm not huge into puzzling. I do have, kind of going back to Phil's thing, I do have, like, kind of some positive memories about, some of the just completely off the wall, puzzling, in like adventure games. That's like one of the reasons I loved reading like MS Paint Adventures and stuff. But overall, those aren't things I want to bring back. In particular, I'm really glad that action games have learned that they don't need to have puzzles in them.
Mm-hmm.
I never need to see another box puzzle again. But I would say probably my favorites, though, and the ones that I do really like, would be kind of more what I'd call kind of like situation puzzles, like you have in like Hitman and some of those sorts of games.
Oh, okay.
Or even some of the like kind of Elder Scrolls, or a little bit, or like Vampire the Masquerade kind of has this, where the puzzle is more about accomplishing a thing and figuring out the area than it is about actual puzzles. Also, as a recommendation, I don't know if this is still a cool thing, but if you're looking for like straight up like puzzles, like puzzle game as opposed to like brain bending puzzles, it's hard to go wrong with Puzzle Pirates.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I've yet to play that, but I've heard you recommend it before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just going to make some blanket statements here. Favorite puzzle, general puzzles. Thank you for your service. Least favorite kind of puzzle, the 15 puzzle. Which is, like the sliding tile puzzle where you have it's a 4x4 grid, but there are 15 tiles in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you have to I fucking hate those with a passion.
Don't play the curse, because the curse, the game I mentioned, has those 15 puzzles. Only the shapes are, there's like 1x1, 1x2, 4x4, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Ooh, also Picross. I love Picross. Hate Sudoku, love Picross.
Ooh,
oh,
actually,
yeah.
Least favorite puzzle. Can I go with the Assassin's Creed like hacking type things?
What do you mean? Like where you're trying to find the secrets?
Yeah, like access the memories or whatever.
Right.
Well, like where you're okay. Is this the ones where it's like the random blue thing that you can see when you're in like Hawkeye mode or Batman mode or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I really like those. Those were so cool.
Really? I thought I remembered you like getting incredibly angry at them, but that's neither here nor. I don't know. I think part of it for me is I cared about the storyline and only about the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted them to quit screwing with the dumb puzzles. And I guess the other thing is, like, there was no way to mark the locations on your map. So, like, if I couldn't figure it out now, it was like, well, hope you remember this one building in the middle of Istanbul.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I felt those puzzles were cool because I felt like they were really, really obscure. So even though it wasn't just figuring out the answer, it was figuring out the rule set to get to the answer that I liked.
And there wasn't a lot of penalty for failure either.
No, I don't think so.
Actually, to tie things back around, excellent puzzles a game. Truly is the Secret World actually has some really, really great puzzles.
Yeah, and to tie things back around, my favorite video game movie is Marble Madness, the movie. I put a link to that in the Skype, and we'll put it on the. I was just reminded of that during a recent recording of WAF, and it is something special from something awful.
It's good. Yeah,
go ahead.
I was wondering if it was like a college humor or something, but yeah.
So there are only 2 left. Dennis, what's Omga Moose say?
OMG Moose says, pretty simple, least fun game ever played.
I can go with this one. One of my least favorite games that I ever played was The Saboteur. I only played that for about an hour, and this was when I had GameFly, and so I was like, well, sending that one back in the mail. Time to get Red Dead Redemption.
Upgrade.
Yeah.
Least? Oh, go ahead.
Any number of them for abject suffering, honestly, but that feels like cheating almost. There was a certain set of circumstances that compelled me professionally to play Coasterville.
Hmm?
Yeah, I didn't much care for it. But again, it's one of those not for me kind of things. So,
can I make another interjection?
Yes.
Ending of Dead Rising 2. So frustrating.
Oh, the disarmy guy? The guy that just kept disarming you? Oh, no, after that, yeah, also really
very
crappy.
End.
Yeah, also incredibly crappy.
Yeah.
That was just like, let's take out the part of this game that's what this entire game is about.
Yep.
How about you, Dennis?
I'm going to say least fun game I've ever played is Spec Ops The Line. Also one of the best games I've played.
Cheater!
He took it and turned it. Yeah.
That's fair.
Do you have a real answer, or is that...
What did you say? That's a real answer.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Screw you, man.
Jeez.
Fight. Also bleep that out.
I'd have to say, for me, I think it's a tie, and tying back around again to Geolaw between Counter-Strike and God of War. I think both of those just fundamentally weren't good games, weren't fun games.
I don't know. Yeah.
Was there another one over email, by the way?
No, just the 2.
Oh, right, there was a comment over email.
Was there? That was the brothers, right?
Yeah, sorry, there was only one question and just a...
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
We don't discriminate. Let's not do the longer GLL one because he's talking about Amateria from Myst 3, which is an awesome puzzle. I really like that one. That is true. But this is a good one to take us out on. Ben, GeoLaw's last question.
Oh yeah. Which Naughty Dog spinoff would you rather play? Uncarded or The Fast of Us?
Yes.
So easily The Fast of Us.
Yeah.
You could throw bricks and beer bottles at your enemies.
Yeah.
Turn them into Molotovs and throw those.
Yeah, like turtle shells in Mario Kart.
That would be just sorry, going off. Some sort of like combat racer with an on-the-fly crafting system.
Yeah.
Would be a really interesting risk-reward system.
Yeah, like the Fast of Us would basically be like a resource management heavy version of Twisted Metal.
On the straightaways you have to craft. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't there a kart racer where, like, if you pick up 3 of the same color power-up in a row, each time it upgrades it to something more powerful?
That sounds like a Sonic kart game to me.
Or did maybe the Donkey Kong racer do that one?
Somebody did it, but where, like, it behooved you to hold on to the, like, collect 1 red and you could fire a straight firing missile, collect 2 reds. I think it was Jack X Combat Racing, Naughty Dog Combat Racer, Naughty Dog Kart Racer, where, you tried to collect 3 of the same thing in a row and it'll give you the most powerful version of it. Yeah. So there's that risk reward for you.
Yeah.
I know. I'm kind of torn on this one. I feel like taking this a little bit more seriously, which is entirely missing the point. I feel like Uncarded could do a cool kind of like Flight of the Phoenix type thing.
The noted, like, what was it, like Richard Zahn movie?
Yeah, the whole like, let's build a airplane in the middle of the desert out of junk. On the other hand, like, I feel like The Last of Us is post-apocalyptic. Road Warrior is an amazing post-apocalyptic, like, driving and killing and stuff. Mm-hmm. Therefore, by the law of induction, the Fast of Us would be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, so I made up a person, Richard Zahn. It's actually a Steve Zahn, and he wasn't even in that movie. So yeah, no.
Well, there was like an original one before. It was like Dennis Quaid. Yeah.
Like the current one is Dennis Quaid, Giovanni Ribisi. But yeah, it's a remake of a 1965 film, which starred somebody reading from Wikipedia. No, Jimmy Stewart. It had Jimmy Stewart in it. It was a good movie. But yeah, no, the transitive property from Mad Max to the Fast of Us. Yeah. Although, go ahead.
I was going to say, the thing with Uncarded, though, is how are you going to fit climbing into this game? Because you would have to do that somewhere.
Yeah, I like the idea of driving around in ancient ruins. I think that could probably be some pretty cool track design. For
one level. For one track.
The rest of it's like a jungle.
Well, ruins, yay! Every kart racer has the jungle track.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but
I feel like actually the real question this raises is, how did Uncharted never have a driving set piece?
They do with horses in the third one.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they have motion in their games.
Well, like there's the train in the first one. There's like the section where you're on the turret of the Jeep. You're not actually driving there.
Let's be careful not to put the kart racer before the horse, you guys.
Wow. I feel like I do have to insist though that if they make Uncharted, they need to take a page from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and one of the stages needs to be racing through the streets of Venice.
Nice.
What? Venice doesn't have streets.
Not the point.
On jet skis? Yeah. So this has been Ninjas vs. Podcast. No, it hasn't.
Just in case you forgot.
Don't touch that dial. Yeah. No. Good.
Yeah, go on. No.
Okay.
We don't need it.
Its moment has passed. Well, yeah, so if you would like to participate, we always want to get these questions because I think it'd be cool to answer them. Send it to Duckfeed.tv/contact. Pick the level from the drop-down menu. We'll continue to do actual prompts and things like that, but I think we have a lot of fun answering your questions sometimes. So just
you guys are infinitely better at coming up with stuff to talk about than we are.
Yeah.
So.
It's hard over so many episodes. But yeah, or or the Facebook group, facebook.com/The Level. Hey, Ben, can we button it up?
I am painfully aware that this is a thing now. I can't even. Well, it doesn't matter what I respond to either. If I say no, you're going to still end the show anyway.
No. The worst part is when you're not here, the show just goes on.
We made that joke last week, David.
Yeah. Are you trying to make me slowly go crazy?
We're gaslighting him.
Maybe.
But seriously, can we?
Yeah, end the show.
The credit.
Thank you so much for listening to episode 34 of The Level, or Level 34, as it were. There are some things you can do. Like us, rate us, review us on iTunes, subscribe. That all really helps us out. You can go to Duckfeed.tv, find all the episodes of the show there. Like us on Facebook, we mentioned that. By way of order, if you're interested in stuff on the network and you are in the Pacific Northwest, I'm going to be at the Portland Retro Games Expo to do a live panel for Watch Out for Fireballs. We're talking about Mario Kart and whether or not they could stand to have a Nathan Drake character.
What is the actual date? Neglected to give a date.
Yes, that is October the 6th. And it's October the 5th and 6th.
Nice.
Our live show is Saturday the 5th from 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. So
Nice.
We don't know what auditorium at, but if you're going to be there,
you're going to keep yourselves to an hour?
we're going to have to. So that's assuming
Like going back to the early days of the podcast.
I know it was never an hour. Yeah. So if you're going to be doing any shopping on Amazon, I would kindly ask you to do it through duckfeed.tv/tipjar. That does help the network out tremendously in terms of covering things like the website, hosting the audio files for the show. It is a non-trivial expense every month in order to do this, and you all are rocking it out on helping make sure that we can continue to afford to do this. So thank you. Anything I'm missing, fellas?
Tell a friend.
Yes, please do. We've had some people tweeting about us, which is always nice.
Yay.
Yeah.
Use the buddy system when listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
It's for your own safety.
Yes. We must insist on it. So I'm Cole Ross, at Cole Ross on Twitter.
I'm Dennis Furia, at DFuria on Twitter.
I'm David Moneysmith at Moneysmith777.
What's it on?
It's online.
It's .com.
It's .com.
And I'm Ben Merkel at Merkelizer.
On
Twitter.
Okay. So thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you next week. And until then, watch out for Gandhi, because he's coming. He's coming. He's coming.
He rolls deep, man.
Cranking it to 11.
Ben, how about you?
As far as what I've been grinding on?
I mean, just as a high level view of what it is. We're not going to launch into it right now, but I would just like to know for the sake of planning.
Oh, I don't have much.
Okay.
I'm pretty concise, I feel.
I don't have much, but I know how I love games. Aaron NESville? Yeah.